Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Everyday Upland. Today I'm here. Hopefully this video is quick, but I'm just going to share my opinion, my response to Upland's first big vote. Um so I read this once, I read it twice. I did a little bit of a research about certain things that happened in Upland. A year ago, I think from when they actually dropped this news of the big vote, um, I read a few articles kind of talking about what Upland had planned for the future. I even looked at the white paper. I have it here. I downloaded it so I can go over the white paper on what their original plan was. And to be honest, based on what I read in the white paper, I think they should kind of stick to that plan. They did promise to give us various options in how they're going to deal with the monetary part of the game or the monetary expansion. And on the post in Reddit, they mentioned about how they feel that or they think that um, minting new UPEX will make the game currency unstable in the future because of the fact that they have to mint UPEX. And then when I went to the white paper, it clearly states that every 1,000 UPEX minted is equivalent to $1. And, new players come into the game get 3,000 UPEX, right, to start. So they get about $3 to start, which is fine. You're giving away $3. That's not a whole lot of money, but you know, while doing offering this $3, it kind of encourages players to hit that UPEX button so they can purchase additional UPEX if they really want to, you know, get into the game and get to really understand the game fully. And I don't think Upland should go away from their white paper. My reason being is this: if 1,000 UPEX is equivalent to 1,000 US dollars, right? Why would you want the players now to allow you guys to access the community fund? So there's a community fund and an upland fund. So when they mint these, um, I think it's 160 UPEX per daily active user, right? Then that will go into the UPEX pool, right? Every time someone hits that buy UPEX button in the top right hand corner of the game, Upland gets money from that to pay their employees. And I will talk about their employees. I haven't dealt too much with them, but this is off of what I've seen people been screaming about, and also I've kind of seen one interaction where a certain individual on their live was just going kind of crazy, and then now it kind of comes to this. But I'll explain that in a second, right? So this is how Upland will pay their employees and pay themselves and use it to operate the business. If you realize the month of October, there was a lot of sales in Upland. So I'm sure Upland was able to generate some income for the month of October, where there was a lot of things that were up for sale. A lot of things you either had to, if you weren't generating enough, like myself, and there's a small group of people who are in Upland that are generating millions of dollars per day or millions of UPEX per day. But for everybody else who isn't generating that much per day, have to hit that UPEX button to get the Jackie's say collectibles, to buy a car. There were so many things happening in October, and there were so many reasons for people to hit that UPEX button. So Upland was able to bring in a lot of additional funds if they say they need funds to operate the game and make it more decentralized. And I don't agree with this whole um, tapping into the community pool. Now, the community pool, if you look in this uh, um, 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 part this Reddit forum, it explains that everything. So every time you make a transaction in the game, the treasure hunt comes from the community pool. Every time you mint a property, it goes into the community pool. Your daily earnings, monthly earnings, that also come from the community pool. And if you guys really want to get an understanding of what the community pool is, one of the best ways you could do that is that you jump into the game, you click on one of your properties, click on where it says title, and once the title section open, it will have this. Give me 1 second. Let me make a quick switch over to the game so you guys can understand what I'm speaking about. Just give me 1 sec. Let me switch over to show you how to view that. Okay. Here we go. Share screen. Let's go into Upland. Okay, so this is how you do it. So you click, sorry, you open this area here, you click on title, and it says view on blockchain. So you go view on blockchain, right? Let me give you guys access to that now. Is every time I click on one of these things, it um, opens a new tab for me. So here you go. So you can view everything that happens on the EOS blockchain. So here it is, right? So Upland Me is the company. That's this is them for every transaction. So I don't remember exactly. I haven't been on this in a while on how to find anything. But what I always do, I always click on them. It will take you to where it shows you Upix token account, Upix uh, okay, this one's for Spark, and this one's for the Upix. So let's click on the Upix, right? So when you click on the Upix, this right here is a community pool. So this is where all of our money, everything we mint in the game, this is where it goes. It goes right in there, and it's where we get paid out of. It's where everything for the game comes out of. So every time you hit the Upix, buy more Upix, it goes into this, and this has been shrinking, I guess over the last 6 months. So there's something here where I'm assuming that Upland isn't generating enough income because you can see it down here, right? This is how much Upix they have to sell to new players, is right down here, right? And these are all the other players who are generating a certain amount of Upix per month. So right now, the community pool is at 90%. So there's a lot of Upix in here. And this is what Upland wants to tap into. And I don't believe they should have that, we should vote for them to do that. And one of the reasons why I'm going to mention this is I've seen they have this community guy something Dan, right, where he had an argument in the Discord as well as live. A lot of people showed the receipts on it on Twitter, where he was going back and forth with a whole bunch of Upland players, because Upland players had the notion in their mind that they were investors in Upland, as a sense as, I guess they were thinking, or how he made it sound as if they were thinking that, or maybe they were, I'm not really sure, were investors in the sense where they own piece of the company. He kept on telling them, no, you guys aren't investors, but he wasn't really clear on what he meant. I interpreted both sides of it. I understand what he said, that we weren't investors in Upland itself, but the game of Upland, we were investing our money in Upland to get something back. That's the reason why so many people put so much money into this game because it said, okay, this is a game where I can put in money and possibly get something in return. So he never really made that distinction really clear, and it was a whole back and forth, and his attitude toward it was kind of really stink. It was really stink towards the players. It was really bad. Personally, I just didn't like how he was talking and dealing with each individual that made the complaint. But it just wasn't appropriate, I felt. And from then, I can't speak on before that, from then till now, a lot of people have been asking, the players have been asking for Upland to remove some of these community managers and get some new ones, right? Upland hasn't done anything as far as I know yet about these community managers that they have in charge of what's been going on. I don't know. I really haven't seen them really promote his show, his live that would come on, right? But then now Upland is wanting to tap into the same community pool that players were saying that, hey, we're putting our money into the game, so it's an investment for us. And he was saying, no, 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 no. You're not invested into the company. You don't own nothing in the company. All you own is just what you have in properties or those NFTs and so on and so forth. So that wasn't a good look then, and it's not a good look now, where all of a sudden you have this guy arguing with the players who have put money into the game with the hopes of having getting something back in return, and then now that thing that they're hoping to get back in return, Upland would like to have access to it. I believe if they stick with how they have the white paper, it will not destabilize the economy because every thousand UPIX that you mint is equivalent to $1 US. Those monies or those UPIX that are minted will eventually make its way into the game by acquisition of new players. And I don't know if you guys have seen a lot of the ads and the that you'd see on social media are not necessarily the greatest. One, two, I don't see it that often. I'm not on all the social media platforms, but I see some advertisements on Instagram. I don't see any on Twitter. Maybe there's some on LinkedIn. Maybe there's some on TikTok. Maybe there's some on Facebook and all these other places. But for what I see on Instagram, which I believe Instagram has the most eyeballs, most people paying attention, and the most people who possibly are looking for ways to get themselves into crypto or gaming or anything like that, I really don't see a lot of ads. Also, secondly, I see zero ads from on YouTube. The only time you'll see something pertaining to Upland on YouTube, it's from all the creators such as myself who put out videos, whether it's on a daily basis, weekly basis, or monthly basis. That's the only time you really see any ads, okay? But I said all of that when it comes to the money and how Upland should have or should be acquiring new players, and that should help them bring in some extra money. Let me show you an article that literally happened or was written like a year ago from when where is this thing? Give me 1 second. Let me find it. Oh, maybe it's here. Okay, no. Give me 1 second. I was just looking at it like a minute ago. Let me go through. Here we go. Okay. Let me make the switch back over to it. And this is what I find kind of interesting. How why is this is happening? Why is it that Upland wants to tap into what the players have? Remember, you have your guys saying that we are not investors into the game, right? right? So here is an article on Medium. All you have to search is just this eight. Just search Upland $18 million in investment, right? Or Upland gets $18 million. This actually happened on the second. There's multiple other articles that is dated on the second when this came out, right? So Upland got $18 million from one company to invest into Upland. And what they stated was that this money, right, was supposed to be used to acquire new players and to develop the game. There's meta ventures in the game, right? Here's a development of the game. We've now gotten cars, we've gotten meta ventures. Meta ventures, you're only allowed to sell NFLPAs and block explorers. Two things. Upland states that, okay, yes, they're going to start a little bit centralized and decentralized, but right now I see it as centralized. You have meta ventures and you're only allowed to sell two types of things in the stores. Meta ventures should have been decentralized and been more open, right? So people can sell whatever it is, whatever asset, whatever NFT that they have, they should be able to sell without having to rely or be dependent um, on Upland to be the one to say yes or no to it. But we haven't gotten that. Like I personally would like to open a meta venture and hopefully one day be able to sell whatever legits I have, whatever block explorers I have, or anything else, any other asset that I have in my collection to be able to sell. And that's quite limited, right? So Upland is let's see if I could find it again. All right. Let's see. Economy, blockchain, put it on. Just give me 1 second. Um, growth, emphasize. But I can't really find it again because I had to go to the top. I should have highlighted it. But they did say that this investment was, like I said earlier, was to use to acquire new users and to grow the game. So $18 million on November 2nd was invested into Upland by one of its partners. A year later, Upland is putting out there for us to vote on them having access into our community pool. It's not really a good idea. Okay, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's good for us, the community members, right? Imagine some say six, seven, 10 players come in and bring in thousands of dollars, right? And Upland has access to our community pool and drains this community pool because these individuals, these 10 individuals, come in and they're buying millions, if not billions, of UPICs. Imagine each one of them purchased an equivalent of 4 billion UPICs, which is like $4 million each. 10 players, so that's 40 billion UPICs, right? That will cut our pool down from $89 billion down to $40 billion. And that's only 10 players investing $4 million into Upland. I don't think it's a good idea. There's just so many things in here that really kind of threw me off, especially when Upland speaks on the whole monetary system and how, if they continue to go as how the white papers say, it's going to create inflation. And as I see it right now, we're kind of in a deflationary period because there's a lot of cities, Brooklyn, Manhattan. You even want to buy block explorers. Block explorers were always expensive. I find, anyways, for me, being a player that's only been in the game for just a year, I wasn't able to acquire any block explorers. But ever since um, cars are being sold, the Jackie say um, collectibles were in the game, I started noticing that block explorers had a real some block you can find some really good deals for block explorer. You can pretty much acquire some of the block explorers that Upland has given away for free to individuals who participating in different challenges and competitions or whatever it is. You could get them. Like I was able to get a very nice block explorer for like 25,000 upix, where this block explorer was 70, 80, 100,000 before. You can buy properties in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, San Francisco. Some San Francisco, you can get about 20,000, maybe 25,000. But in all three of those cities, you could possibly find properties for under 30,000, whereas properties were in the hundred thousands. Okay, so I don't see how Upland um, printing or minting more UPIX will cause an inflationary period in the game and making the currency or the economy unstable, when the only way for those minted UPIX to get into the game is if someone hits that UPIX button and buys those tokens. Okay, I don't see any other way unless Upland. The only way inflation or unstable monetary situation can happen is if Upland mints all of these, however many amount of tokens based on the active daily users, and just decides to just give it all away to the users. Then you will create an inflationary time, or you create inflation on the monetary system in the game, because now people are getting UPIX for free. Okay, and it's just going out, and then they'll start to bid up the cost of everything. That's the only way I see it. But if someone is purchasing this UPIX from Upland, the chances of that happening is like literally slim to none. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not a master of economics, but I have some understanding of economics. I have a fully understanding of how inflation works, and inflation is not, they've changed the definition recently, but inflation is not high prices. Okay, what creates inflation is, in the real world, is the amount of money that's in the economy and how the money gets into the economy. So if the government in the real world print cash and throw it at people's feet like out of a helicopter, and those people gather up all those funds and go create a demand for more items, then that will create an inflation. And right now, I think there's an oversupply of properties in Upland. You can watch other people's video. You can check for yourself on Upixland. There's quite a few cities that haven't, like LA, Kansas City. There's a couple other ones, I can't recall them at this moment, that haven't been minted out. And for the last, I don't know, maybe 2 3 months ago, Upland was releasing a brand new city within like every month, some twice a month. They just did a double city release, even though I believe most of those are minted out, those two double cities that they opened. So I don't really see how there is going to be any sort of inflation in the game when there's an oversupply of properties still available to be minted, and there isn't as much UPIX right now. Like, I depleted a lot of my UPIX buying block explorers, buying the Jackie Say collections, doing other things, getting involved in stuff. And I'm sure, and I hit that UPIX button quite a few times to get those additional funds. Even the block explorer that I currently have, I hit the UPIX button to get that block explorer. It was a great deal. I couldn't pass up on it, and I jumped on it right as it was available. There's deals everywhere. So guys, hit that Upex button, let Upland get some money, and let them know that this is the best way that you should be able to earn money in the game. What Upland really needs to do is to go out there, like they said. I don't think it's this article, but it's another article just like this pertaining to this $18 million that Upland received just over a year ago, where they clearly stated that they were going to use this $18 million to acquire new players and try to pretty much use it to help them to generate more income. They weren't going to, at any point until now, they weren't going to try and tap into the community pool and try to take the money out of the players' hands and put it into theirs. I don't think that's a good idea. So each individual that eventually does watch this video, take some time, guys, right? Take some time, look into it, look up this investment that they received just over a year ago. Check out the white paper where it clearly states how they're going to mint, and the equivalent of $1 is 1,000 UPIX. Um, Look at the definition of centralization and decentralization and get to understand that where right now I believe it's more centralized because Upland does whatever they want. We, the players, can't request something or anything like that, which we have to go to them for things to change necessarily within the game, which we understand. They did say they're going to be making most of the decisions on that part. But the fact that you have cars, there's no utility, you have meta venture, and you don't have full utility of these meta ventures, which I thought when I first heard about meta ventures and read the info and to understand what meta ventures was, I got the impression it meant that I will be selling whatever it is that I can sell, right? But these things are happening very slowly. I think this is where the decentralization more will come in, is if we have access to sell whatever it is that we want to sell in the game. But guys, don't believe anything I just said to you in the last 27 minutes. Take your own time, look it up. It's going to be your decision on what you're going to do. I'm just here to try and add some more details and maybe a different perspective than how maybe other people are feeling or what they looked at to prove to you that this is not really a good idea. We put this money into the community pool, right? You have community leaders like what Upland has who will argue with us that we aren't investors into the company. And then now Upland wants to have access to the funds that aren't an investment into Upland and use it to propel the game forward and to play and to pay its employees. No, we gotta have to have a stake, a percentage of Upland, the company, in order if you want to go into the community pool. That's just how I see it. Nothing is for free. I understand they're paying a high interest rate, which I believe they could pay more because the community pool is gonna be overflowing with cash, so they can increase the interest rates because I assume Upland thought with the high interest rate that they were offering us in the very beginning, the community pool wouldn't have enough. And to be honest, it has more than enough to pay us maybe another 2 to 3% more because there's a lot of players who are like me who don't have a ton of properties and is not generating millions of UPIX per day. It's a very small percentage that are generating millions of UPIX per day. So you guys, I just showed you how to look on the blockchain to check out the numbers so you can see what the UPIX pool is like, the community pool is like. Check it out, do your research. When the vote comes, at least you have your own individual thought, your own individual perspective on what's happening, so you can make an intelligent decision, guys. All right. Thank you all for taking this time out to watch this episode. Hopefully, it brings you guys a lot of value. And if there's anything I miss, anything I misunderstand, and you guys have the correct way or not, doesn't matter, put it down below in the comments. I will respond back. I never put anything on Reddit underneath the comments because I felt there was a lot of great responses already, and mine wouldn't do justice to what was already there. But if you guys want to have a discussion with me, you guys can do so in the comments. I'm willing to sit down and have this discussion. And if you guys are on Twitter, just hashtag Upland. I search a hashtag all the time, and I read through the different comments, and eventually you'll see me. I'll hit you up. And last but not least, I want to thank all my new subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. The numbers for the amount of people that are not subscribed has blown through the roof. Okay, my last video has blown that out of the water. So I need you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below, and stay tuned for another episode of Everyday Upland. Good night, guys. Thank you so much.